of creation and how the entire verses of the Prashna Upanishad is concised in 6 chapters, and there are only 6 questions, and there are 6 disciples, and the 6 disciples they are asking 6 questions which represent the questions that also arise in our mind, and it is answered by the teacher, the realized soul. And yesterday only, Professor Das already discussed how the first question is raised by Kavanvi about the how the creation is there or how the creation is possible, and the second question is about by the Bhargavas. It is about who are called as deity, and very beautifully uh, Professor Das yesterday only said that how disciplining the mind, disciplining the body, and disciplining the intellect, how one can become, one can grow and glow by becoming small and small so that he can fit to any situation. The and in the while in his yesterday only in his deliberation he talked about the cosmic creation and the cosmic destruction, which keeps in pace with the unitary creation and the unitary destruction. And it is not only it is the again also sir very beautifully yesterday also discussed that the questions and the concepts they are the questions particularly, though there are 10 principal Upanishads we do talk of. Questions are basically it is about certain issues like what is Brahman, what is Atman, what is the ultimate goal. But we see the concepts gets changed in different in from one Upanishad to another Upanishad. But basically the questions are same. So yesterday only sir talked about the secret of creation, and today he is going to address us on the topic that is the secret of descent. I think yesterday already clear to all of us that we are doing nothing but we are going to address, or particularly Professor Das is going to address in his deliberation the next 2 questions, that is the question number 3 and question number 4. With this, I welcome you all to this platform so that we can discuss more and more Upanishads, because this is a, you can say that this is our culture, we are rooted in our culture, and again the entire discussions regarding any form of Indian philosophy, Indian classical system, that is all a footnote to the Vedas. And Upanishads are related to the Vedas. So with this, I again welcome you all, and I request Professor Pramod Kumar Das to address us on the topic Secret of Descent. Over to Professor Das. Pramod.
Namaskar to all of you. Am I audible, madam?
Oh, sir. Oh, sir. Clearly audible. Okay.
Respected Dr. Kalyani, madam, very esteemed participants of this session. Today is the second session of Prashna Upanishad. We have 3 issues to discuss, and in one sentence we can say the entire Prashna Upanishad can be summarized in one sentence, that is the secret of creation, descent and ascent. The process of creation and the process of descent and the process of ascent. With these 3 issues, we can cover the entire Prashna Upanishad. There are 6 questions, 6 disciples. They have 3 questions in their mind. They are asking to their teacher. The teacher is ready to answer, but the teacher tests the test of the students that said they should be qualified at least to ask questions. Because yesterday I had told that asking question is very much important, but one should be qualified to ask question. So far as spiritual sadhana is concerned, spiritual discussion is concerned, one should be highly developed. One should have that grasping ability to grasp the answer of the teacher. Otherwise, it is very easy to put the question, to ask the question in very beautiful language, but answer cannot be digested. Answer cannot be grasped if we do not have a cultured mind. Therefore, physical, psychological, spiritual disciplines are mandatory. Yesterday I had told that austerity, brahmacharya and faith, these 3 disciplines, austerity is the physical discipline, brahmacharya is the psychological discipline, and faith is the intellectual discipline. These 3 disciplines are not only necessary for students or disciples, they are necessary for any seeker. Any seeker, even for the learned professors. Every moment we are learners. Every moment is a moment of learning. But we cannot learn if we are not qualified. Qualified means this qualification, not the academic qualification. So we had discussed 2 questions. Where from this creation, how this creation is possible, and who are the deities, who are the authorities of this creation. And in answer, we had discussed that this creation is possible only by 2 possible entities, which is accepted by both science and philosophy, both physics and metaphysics. They are matter and energy. There is no third possibility. Out of these 2 possibilities, we can explain the entire manifestation, the entire creation, entire modification, and everything is explained by these 2 principles. When we categorize the totality into 2 or 3 or 4 principles, we mean that we have to explain the totality by the categories. In Sankhya system, we discuss about Purusha and Prakriti. That is a dualistic system. So we take dual principles only because we can explain the entire process of evolution, entire process of creation by these 2 principles. Therefore, that is a dualistic system. When we speak of monism, when we speak of one principle like Advaita Vedanta, there we mean that the entire creation can be explained by one principle. Therefore, it is monism. And when we speak of a pluralism, manyness, many entities, like Naya and Vaisheshika, like Leibniz, so many philosophers are there, those who believe in many entities. There we mean that the entire creation can be explained by each and everything. by the plural entities. Therefore, that is pluralism. In Prashna Upanishad, it is very scientific because science believes in dualism. Science believes in the two basic principles, that they are matter and energy. So the dualistic approach is very much pragmatic, very much scientific. So Prashna Upanishad, the explanation of a Prashna Upanishad is very much scientific because it discusses from the scientific point of view that it is generally experienced, generally perceived that there are two principles, matter and energy, Jada and Chetana. These things, we had discussed all these things yesterday. And who are the deities? Who are the devas? The second question was, who are the devas? Who are the deities? Any higher principle that contributes to us in any way, that is called, that is worshipped, that is honored as Deva. If we depend upon the nature, if we depend upon air, water, fire, etc., all these elements are devas for us because we depend upon that. Air does not depend upon us for its own existence. Water does not depend upon us for its existence. But we depend upon water, we depend upon air, we depend upon fire, we depend upon plants, we depend upon this vast nature, we depend upon sunlight. So we should remain grateful, we should remain obliged to this nature. Therefore, every part of this nature is to be worshipped as Deva. Deva means that which gives. Deva means that which illuminates. Deva means which gives us brightness, light, wisdom. That is Deva. Deva means that which gives us without having any expectation of return. Gives and without any expectation of taking anything from us. Expectation. That is Deva. Science does not create water. Science does not create air. Science is only engaged in explanations. Explanations of what is already there, what is existent, what exists, that is explained by science. But beyond science, there is existence. Existence of water is there. Therefore, science describes that it is H2O. Water is not satisfied by its own definition, whether it's H2O or something else. Water is water. Water is there. Water performs its dharma, performs its duties. It contributes. Science is only engaged to give the explanation of the existent world, the changing world, the changing phenomena. And science admits that his inquiry has a limitation. His inquiry is not conclusive. His solution is not conclusive. Because science cannot conclude. Science cannot assess the whole creation. It is impossible. Science is merely an attempt to reach some extent. So the explanation of a science is subject to revision. The declaration of science, the theories of science may be changed tomorrow. It is subject to revision. Therefore, the Scientific theory is relative. That is Aparavidya. Aparavidya is the science of relativity. Aparavidya is the science of the changing phenomena. But from the status of a phenomenal world, from the status of the changing world, we can guess, we can infer the status of the absolute, because something is there which is permanent, which is absolute, of which all these things are changing aspects of that absolute reality. So Paravidya means the science of the absolute. Aparavidya means the science of the relativity. So these two types of knowledge are necessary. Science does not entertain the wisdom about absolute, but now the modern science is claiming that Paravidya is necessary, because I had told yesterday that many great scientists have declared that there is no matter at all. In the subtlest form, there is only energy. Matter is just the outer form, a solitary form, a concrete form of that energy. If we shall go deep into matter, the subtlest form of matter, there is only energy. So this is a direction towards that Paravidya, towards the absolute. And the moment science declares that my theory is relative, this is also an indirect declaration of absolutism, because this is relative means something is there which is absolute, but we don't have any access to it. We can't discuss that. We don't have such instruments to discuss about that. So, without Paravidya, without the science of absolute, our discussion about this phenomenal world is just a discussion about illusion or appearance, and that is the real status of the world. That is, the world is the world of illusion. Therefore, this world is the world of appearance. Therefore, this is the changing world. Therefore, this is the relative world. Here the knowledge is relative, the existence is relative. Because we have to accept the science of change. We are growing means there is change. So Upanishad believes in both the unmanifest and the manifest, both the unchanging entity and the changing process. Therefore, the teaching of Upanishad is not one-sided. Science believes in our perception experiment. Whose perception? The perception of a human being who is a part of nature. If this is the status of science, then we don't have any question. We are satisfied with this position of science. If science is the product of human mind, if science is satisfied with human perception, human imagination, human intellectual discussion, if the man is the center of all discussion, man is the center of all discovery, this biological man, this psychological man, if this biological, psychological man is the center of all discussion, all scientific inquiry, scientific discovery, scientific explanation, then we can guess what shall be the limit of our explanation. where we can reach. If the wisdom comes with the perception, explanation that come from human mind, then we shall reach at least at the level of human mind. We cannot go beyond. But in Upanishad, human mind is a very minimal level of consciousness. Human mind is physical, it is a biological product. But man is not only physical and psychological, man is also spiritual. That means man is a spark of pure consciousness. So that is the science of absolute. That is the science of pure consciousness by which the status of matter and energy can be understood. Otherwise not. At the outset, we can explain this empirical world by these two principles, matter and energy. This is the scientific approach. But the third question is very much interesting. When the teacher is explaining about the apparent creation, the creation that appears to us, about the very visible world, the world that we experience every moment, every time, the world which is experimented by science, there we can say that matter and energy are two elements, and we are satisfied with that explanation. But once this secret is understood, human mind asks the third question. Human mind wonders, because there is something wonderful beyond these wonders of matter and energy. Scientists also ask this question personally, but they don't declare it in public. Every man has his personal access. Every man his personality. Every man has his personal intuition. But once we have a brand that I am a scientist, I cannot declare my intuition as the authentic source of my wisdom, because I am a scientist. I have to go through the scientific approach. But every scientist is also a philosopher, because science begins with hypothesis, and a hypothesis takes place from human imagination. So a philosopher becomes a scientist. So a scientist is a philosopher in disguise. So a scientist is only engaged in evidence, that I shall not go beyond evidence. I shall declare something as true if it is evident from the empirical standpoints. That is a method of inquiry, that is a method of explanation. That's good. But man is so limited, human knowledge is so limited, human instruments, the sense organs and the intellect, these instruments are so limited, we cannot have any access for the total world, the total creation. That is the point. So beyond matter and energy, what is there? Beyond matter and energy, what is there? The third disciple is Kausalya. Third disciple is Kausalya, and the fourth disciple is Gargya. Gargya and Kausalya. Fourth disciple is Gargya, and the third disciple is Kausalya. These two disciples asking question about the secret of descent. Yesterday we were discussing about matter, and beyond matter there is a prana or energy which is the presiding, which presides over matter. Now the third disciple is asking the question that who is the authority of this prana? What is beyond this prana? When has this prana come? Where from this energy come? There is no answer to this question by science. This question cannot be asked to science, that where from energy come and what is the source of energy, how does this enter the body, how energy enters into the body, and how energy goes out of matter or body. These three questions are very peculiar. I am repeating, it is admitted that there is matter and there is energy. Energy is found in matter. And ultimately, the latest discovery, latest research speaks that, declares that there is no matter, there is only energy. But beyond this point, the question comes, where from this energy come? Where from? Where from this energy comes? What is the authority of this energy? What is the authority of this prana? That means what is the authority of both matter and energy? We don't ask the authority of matter, because when we discuss about the authority of energy, matter is included there. So what is beyond prana? When has this prana come and how it enters into matter? Yes, there is energy in matter, but when energy enters into matter, how energy enters into matter? Where from it comes? So the third disciple, Kausalya, is asking the very beautiful question that please explain me. I now understand what is matter and energy from both physical standpoint and metaphysical standpoint. Now please explain me where from prana comes. What is the source of prana? This is the question asked by the third disciple. From this, today's talk starts. The teacher replies, the prana, that means the life, the vitality, the living force, the energy that has come from Atman. Atman or pure consciousness. This is the answer. That means, yesterday we were discussing the Prajapati. Prajapati is the presiding deity, the highest deity, the creator of all types of modifications, both matter, modifications of matter and energy. That Prajapati is the pure consciousness, is the creator, is the ultimate source. From that source, this prana has come. So this is the process of descent. That means the pure consciousness, the finest consciousness, the subtlest consciousness that has descended into the lower levels of consciousness. Is it scientific? Is it scientific or merely a story, merely a myth? So far as matter and energy was concerned, matter and energy, it is understood. That is scientific. But when this question comes, and when we are going to answer this question, that matter and energy emerge from the source, that is pure consciousness, whether this is a scientific approach or just a philosophical speculation. Prashna Upanishad declares it is very much scientific, because we have to understand the process of descent, and the process of descent is a scientific approach. That means anything higher in energy or higher in power, higher in potency, that can descend into the lower cadres, lower status, lower level. The lower cannot descend to the higher, because descent means the higher must descends into the lower. The higher can accommodate the lower. The higher can explain the lower. So the higher that manifests in many, in multiplicities, in multiple worlds, in multiple dimensions. The higher only can manifest. Suppose the guardian of the family, or even in the government, suppose we say the higher authority, Prime Minister, he manifests in every state, because something higher that can manifest in the lower cadres. So anything that is subtlest, anything that is more pervasive, that can only pervade through the multiplicities, the manyness. It is very much scientific. So how energy becomes functional? Energy becomes functional. Energy becomes dynamic, because there is still a higher entity which descends through matter and energy. That is called pure consciousness. That is called pure consciousness. That is called the total mind. That total mind descends into the individual mind. That total consciousness, pure consciousness, descends into the impure consciousness. Impure consciousness means consciousness with material embodiment, material confinement, material forms. In that sense, it is impure. Impure means the lower levels of consciousness. As water can be liquid, water can be solid, and water can be gas. The three forms of water. So exactly we cannot define what water is. What is the real position of water? We take water as liquid, but water can remain in the state of gas and in the state of solid. Similarly, the consciousness has different levels of existence, different levels of manifestation, different levels of function. So the subtlest form of consciousness descends into matter and energy. Matter and energy. We shall explain this both through body and mind. Both through body and mind. Very simple thing, it is scientific, because we have to accept this body. Because this body is not made by science. This body is not made by scientific laboratory. Science has not designed the structure of our body. There are, I have read somewhere that we have a heart which has 101 nerves, and each nerve has hundreds of branches, and each branch has 72,000 sub-branches, through which the air and blood both circulate. And there is a digestive system there is a breathing system, there is blood circulation, heart is functioning. All these functions take place without the help of science. It is God gifted. We are gifted with this body, physical body. So how all these parts of our body work? How that energy, prana, energy of prana is the officer, is the headquarter, under which there are many departments. There are many departments. Our sense organs, they are called seven flames. Seven flames means seven holes. Two holes of eye, two holes of ear, two holes of nose, and one hole of mouth. Two, one. Seven flames. These are holes. These are only instruments. In a dead body, these holes, these instruments do not work. So, what makes these holes, these instruments function? So that is one part of energy. But energy has many dimensions. Therefore, there are different types of functions. One is called apana, samana, vyana, udana, etc. Excretion. That there is a function in our body by which we eject. There is a process of outgoing. We eject the waste materials, and we also, the process of ejection, the process of going out, that is also possible through these seven flames. Suppose when I see something, so this is a process of going out, because the object is there. When I perceive that, there is a process of going out. If I am dead, this process is not there. When I am breathing, when I am taking the air, I am inhaling the air, but the moment I am exhaling, that exhalation is also going out. So there are many ways we are engaged with the process of going out. That is called apana, and samana, that is called the digesting person or the distributing. We take food, then there is a digestive system, and after digestion, we supply the energy to the whole body. So that is called the distribution, impartial distribution. That is called samana. And then vyana. Vyana means that is the air circulation through different channels. And the last is udana. Udana is the process of ascending. That means we have to do certain good works. This is the point where we can explain how we take the next birth, next body. Udana, that is rooted in our culture, that the whole activities, whole vasanas, whole thoughts, which help us, that is the department of transportation, that means which helps us change our place, or which motivates us to take the next move for the next activity through the next body. This is also a process that is called udana. So these are the biological process. That means the pure consciousness descends into our physical body and functions through different channels through energy. That means body is the matter, body is the field of existence, There is energy which helps this body functional in different ways, and because of the descent of consciousness, this function is possible in different ways. That means pure consciousness is the highest subtlest principle which helps the energy to be functional in matter, in the field of matter. Then what is ego? Ego means the consciousness, that pure consciousness which is conditioned by this body, mind and intellect. That is called ego. Ego means that mindness, I am doing this is my house, this is my job. This ego center is an energy center which is a false entity, which has no existence at all. It exists only because being conditioned by body, mind and intellect. Which one? The consciousness. When the consciousness, which is absolutely free, which is absolutely pure, when it is conditioned by body, mind and intellect, that becomes the ego center. And that ego center is always in bondage. So when the conditioned self, when that ego, which has no real existence at all, it has created its own existence, being conditioned by body, mind and intellect. Body, mind and intellect. Mind means the thoughts. Intellect means the vichara, that means the decision. Through this body, mind and intellect, ego has been created being by the consciousness. So consciousness being conditioned by the lower apparatus, the lower body, mind and intellect, ego is created. So what is our identity? Our identity is our ego. That myself is so and so. I have a name and a form. I have an empirical identity. It is only because of the ego center, by egocentric existence. So the point is, whether this egocentric self is different from pure self, or it has its own independent existence. The egocentric existence has no independent existence. It is just the reflection of that pure consciousness. It is not different from the pure consciousness. If it is different, if we shall say that it is different from pure consciousness, then there will be no scope for transformation. There will be no scope for transformation. We cannot transform ourselves from ego to the Supreme Self. From Jivatma to the ego means the Jivatma. Ego means the Jiva. Jiva means the Paramatma, the pure consciousness, which is conditioned by body, mind and intellect. Similarly in science, what is matter? The pure energy, when it is conditioned by certain material entity means the body, and the other external factors, it has taken a shape and a form which we call matter. And that matter has no existence at all, because it is just a reflection of that energy, or it is just the modification of that energy. Similarly, this body, mind and chitta, body, mind and intellect, these three existence are material, and these are only the reflection of that pure consciousness. I shall give an example. Suppose we sit before a dressing table where there are um, uh, three glasses of three colors, and we have three types of reflections in three glasses. So in one glass there is one reflection, in another glass there is another reflection, in another glass there is another reflection. There are three types of reflections through three mediums. But I am the same person who is reflected differently in different glass because of the condition of the glass. I had given another example in the previous session that the same water which is colorless becomes colorful when that is put in different colorful bottles. If the bottle is red color, the water looks red. In a black bottle, the water looks black. And in a blue bottle, the water looks blue, but really the water is colorless. So the colorless water looks colorful being conditioned by certain external factors. That does not mean the colorless water is different from the water in the bottle. The water in the bottle looks having different colors, looks colorful only because of illusory conditionings, artificial conditionings, outer conditionings. The water in the bottle is the same water, the same colorless water, and there is no difference. It is only the reflection of that pure water. Similarly, that pure consciousness guides prana or energy and gives energy the authentic power to manage the different departments of our body in different ways. Therefore, our body grows. Therefore, our body becomes mature and our mind becomes mature. That is the process. This is the physical descent of that pure consciousness in the body. Similarly, there is a descent of pure consciousness through our mind or different levels of consciousness, that we have different levels of consciousness like waking, dream, dreamless sleep. Waking, dream, and dreamless sleep. What is dream? Dream is a state that comes between waking and sleep. When we are waking, there is no dream. When we are really sleeping, there is no dream. So dream is a state that comes in between the waking and sleep. So now we have to imagine that the moment I am in a dream, this world does not exist. This world does not exist. And the moment I wake up, the dream becomes false. The moment I wake up, dream becomes false. The moment I am in a dream, the waking state is non-existent. Similarly, in the deep sleep, both dream and waking are absent. Then which state is the real state of my awareness that we claim science, that we rely on science, then in which state of consciousness science has been created? Because the very waking state is cancelled in the dream state. The dream state is cancelled in the sleep state. And the moment we wake up, we cancel both dream and sleep state. That means the world appears to be both real and unreal, depending upon the reflection, depending upon the conditional reflection of that pure consciousness. We cannot say that this world is real. We cannot say that this world is unreal. Because the real world becomes unreal. The real world becomes non-existent, not unreal, becomes non-existent. The existent world, the apparently existent world, becomes non-existent when we are in a dream or when we are in sleep. Similarly, in the waking state, the dream and dreamless sleep becomes non-existent. Then what exists really? The world that we see around us, is it the real world that we call the scientific world? That we call this world is the world of experience? This is only the experience of our waking state. This is not the absolute experience. The world that science claims to be real, that is the only world of our waking state. That is not the final world. Because this world is experienced to be unreal in our dream experience. And dream is experienced to be unreal in the experience of the dreamless sleep. But in all these three states, in the waking state, in the dream state, and in the dreamless sleep state, I am present. I am that person. I am the waker. I am the dreamer. And I am the sleeper. So now the fourth disciple is asking, who is that? Who is that? That is sleeping in you? ଆମ ଭିତରେ କିଏ ଶୋଇ ପଡୁଛି? Who is sleeping in us? And who is getting awakened? କିଏ ଉଠି ପଡୁଛି? କିଏ ସଜାଗ ହେଇଯାଉଛି? ଏବଂ କିଏ ଶୋଇ ପଡୁଛି? Who is that fellow? Who is that? Who is sleeping? Who is dreaming? And who is waking? Who is that? Who is becoming a scientist? Who is becoming a philosopher? Who is becoming a rationalist? Who is becoming an empiricist? Who is becoming a professor? Who is becoming becoming so and so? Who is that? Who is dreaming? Who is knowing? It has two answers. It is that pure consciousness. It is that pure consciousness who is becoming all these things. That means the dream state is only a reflection of a pure consciousness. The waking state is only a reflection of that pure consciousness. The dreamless sleep is only a reflection of that pure consciousness. All these states are different so far as our conditions are concerned. But so from the standpoint of a pure consciousness, these three are only reflections. Pure consciousness is there in the waking state. Pure consciousness is there in the dream state. Pure consciousness is there in the sleep state. There is something substantial. There is a substantial entity. There is something that is common, that is present in all modifications. In the waking state it is there, in the dream state it is there, and it is the sleep state it is there. Similarly, who is the authority of energy? There is energy in the waking state. There is energy in the dream state. There is energy in the sleeping state. If energy has so many dimensions, if energy has so many functions, then who is the authority of that energy? What is the main switch? What is the main switch? That main switch, that final authority is pure consciousness, which is converted into, which has descended into different modifications differently. Those who are wise, they can visualize the differences. Those who are fool, those who are ignorant, they are trapped by the differences. I am giving an example. Every person has different types of moods. Sometimes person is angry, sometimes person is happy, sometimes the person is extremely happy, sometimes the person is absent-minded. There are different moods. If we carefully notice, observe the different moods of the person, suppose think of our principal, he is the authority. Sometimes he is angry, sometimes he is very affectionate, sometimes he is very serious, sometimes he is very very friendly. If we silently, impartially observe the different modifications of personality of a person, then we shall not be trapped by, we shall not be disturbed by, and we shall never judge that person from a particular mode, that this person is a very angry person, this person is a very serious person, because there are different dimensions. If I am trapped by my waking state, then I am trapped by science. If I am trapped by my waking state, I take the waking state to be granted, that the waking state is the highest state. Whatever I know in my waking state, whatever I know through perception and experiment in the laboratory of science, that is true, then I am trapped by one faculty of my knowing, one faculty of the reflection of consciousness. If I am trapped by my dream, many people imagine so many things. Imagination is not bad, but don't be trapped by your imagination. Don't be trapped by your dream. Dream, but take the dream as a dream. Don't be trapped by a dream. This is my waking state, this is my dream state, and this is my sleeping state, where when I know nothing. I am detached from both dream and waking. In all these situations, I am present. If I am present in all these three modifications, that is the descent. That pure consciousness has descended into the sleep, dream, and waking state of my consciousness, then why should I be trapped by this state or that state or that state? I should remain stable in my pure consciousness. That is my original identity. I should be the witness. But the question comes, is it possible for a common man? Is it possible for a layman? No. A layman is satisfied with his waking experience. He is satisfied with science. He is satisfied with the give and take relation. Because immediate pleasures come from the empirical world. I gave something and I got something, I am satisfied. I don't know, I have no time, no patience to observe its opposite. Its opposite means it is totally non-existent when I sleep. When I not sleep, in the dream state, it is also non-existent. Even in the waking state, the things change from time to time. If the next moment is not, we cannot predict the next moment. The next moment is uncertain. But we take a situation to be granted. We take a situation to be granted. We think that this is the permanent situation. This is the permanent situation. This will take place all the time. So looking at the part, experiencing the part, we judge the totality. That this waking state is real. This waking state is real. But we feel frustrated, we become sad, we become helpless when we experience that this waking state is only meaningful when we are awake. And this is totally meaningless, is totally non-existent when our mind is absent. Simply mind is absent, not in dream state, not in the sleeping state. Suppose I expect something and I did not get, my mind will become absent because I expected this from this empirical world, from my family, from my friend. I did not get, therefore I am disturbed. Expectation is also imagination. So imagination is not bad, expectation is not bad, but don't be trapped by your expectation, don't be trapped by your imagination, don't be trapped by your so-called knowledge. Even don't be trapped by the scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is meaningful only in this empirical world. Scientific knowledge is not meaningful beyond this empirical world. It has a different science that is called the science of absolute. That is called Paravidya. That is called Paravidya. So the higher descends into our body through energy and make our body functional in different channels. Similarly, the higher principle of consciousness descends into different levels of consciousness like waking, dream and sleep. Waking, dream and sleep. And every state of manifestation is just a reflection of that ultimate source as our shadow. Suppose I am standing and my shadow is there. So that shadow is only a reflection of my existence. That shadow cannot exist without my existence. But I can exist without that shadow. We have to understand this reality. What can exist without what? What can exist without what? What can't exist without what? Shadow cannot exist without the source of shadow, but the source of shadow can exist without shadow. Similarly, pure consciousness can exist without its reflections like waking, dream and sleep. But dream, waking and sleep cannot be experienced without pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is pure existent. Pure existent means which can exist without anything. Pure existence means something that can exist without anything, without any medium, without any reflection, without any cause, without any form. That is pure existence. So Brahman is pure existence, Brahman is pure consciousness, Brahman is pure bliss, Satchit Ananda. Why it is pure existence? It is pure existence because the definition of a pure existence is what can exist without depending upon anything. That is pure existence. What is relative existence? Relative existence is that which can exist only depending upon something. Without an adhara, without a base, without a format, something cannot exist. That existence is relative existence. But without any adhara, without any form, without any condition, if something can exist, that is called the principle of existence. That is called Sat, pure existence. Similarly, pure consciousness means anything that is conscious without any source of knowledge, without any pramana, without any instrument of knowing, that is pure consciousness. But when consciousness is understood through different mediums like sense perception means through sense organs, rationality means through mind, intellectual discussion means through intellect. When knowledge is pursued through any medium, that is not pure knowledge. It is categorical knowledge. It is conditional knowledge. It is conditioned knowledge. This knowledge is relative. Therefore, science is relative. Because science is pursued through a medium. That medium is human being. Science means the human wisdom. But Paravidya is not human wisdom. It is the wisdom itself. It is the transcendental wisdom. Man tries to assess it. Man tries to assess it. And there is a possibility that man can assess. But through this empirical mode of knowing, through this scientific brain, through this biological brain, through this mind, we cannot have Paravidya or the science of the absolute. So we have to understand the source and the modification and how the source descends into modifications. And the last part of my talk is that very beautiful. Now the matter will be more serious. Please be careful. Listen carefully. Now the point is, the higher descends into the lower. Now the question comes, how that higher, the fourth student is asking this question, how that consciousness enters into my body, how that higher descends through its opposites, through the world of multiplicity. How is it possible? It is possible through destruction. When something is destroyed, when something is divided, it can become many. It's a very simple thing. Suppose there is one thing, when we shall divide that one, it will become many. Suppose I have 100 rupees. If I shall divide that money into 10 rupees, then it is 10 rupees. It is divided into 10 items, and I can distribute 10 rupees to 10 persons. So by the destruction, the one can become many. Now the question comes, by the process of destruction, the source is destroyed, because we divided the source into many, so the source is destroyed. So if the source is destroyed, then how can we say that this is the reflection of that source? Because the 10 rupee is not the 100 rupee. The 10 rupee is not the 100 rupee. 100 is 100. 10 is not 100. 20 is not 100. 30 is not 100. 50 is not 100. 100 is 100. If 100 is divided into 10, if 1 is divided into many, and it is destroyed into many, then how can we say that source is only reflected in the world of multiplicity, and that is same? That is the secret of descent. Here comes the secret of descent. This is such a type of destruction which, being destroyed, is not destroyed. Which, being destroyed, is not destroyed. There are two types of destruction. Something is destroyed and it is really destroyed. It becomes non-existent. Something is destroyed, it becomes creative. It becomes creative. For example, flower is destroyed. Flower is destroyed, it becomes fruit. Here destruction is a creation. Flower is destroyed, it becomes fruit. Fruit is destroyed, it becomes a seed. Again, seed is destroyed, it becomes the plant. The plant is destroyed. Destroyed means it created the fruit. The fruit is destroyed, again it is seed. The mother is destroyed. Mother is destroyed, the child is born. Brahmacharya is lost. Brahmacharya is lost in parents. A child is born. So destruction is constructive and destruction is also destructive. So here we are discussing about the constructive destruction. That there is a possibility of creation only through the process of destruction. I had told in the last session, when the motherhood, the mother ego, the mother identity is destroyed, he becomes a child, she becomes a child. A mother can become a child only when her mother ego, that matured mother, is destroyed and she descends into the level of the child. But this destruction is for the creation, that my child will take food. I can feed my child. In many times we destroy ourselves to create. We destroy our time, we destroy our energy to create something. This is one dimension. The second thing is mother being destroyed to the level of child is not destroyed as a mother. Mother remains mother even if for the practical purpose she is destroyed herself from the motherhood to the childhood. Being destroyed, the mother is not destroyed. Something which is not destroyed, being destroyed, that can only descend into the lower levels. This is the secret of descent. So the pure consciousness is destroyed into the different levels of consciousness and destroyed through the different functions of our body. It has manifested in the varieties of the multiplicity, the world of multiplicities. It is manifested in different forms, but at the same time, that essence, that source is not destroyed. That remains same even after being destroyed. So that ultimate source, that pure consciousness can remain present in both the state of unmanifest and also in the state of manifest. I am giving another example. Not only a mother, every woman, she plays many roles. Suppose there is a dining table, husband is there, son is there, grandfather is there, my father-in-law is there, brother-in-law is there. So many people, some guests are there. She plays different roles. She is a mother, she is a wife, she is a daughter-in-law, she is a sister-in-law, she plays many roles. That means she is destroyed. Even she sacrifices her ego, her own interest, her own likes and dislikes for others. She is distributed in different ways, but at the same time, she is not destroyed. She remains the same. That I am. Similarly, we all play different roles. We divide ourselves into manifold, but being divided, we remain undivided. So here the science of mathematics, the science of logic will not work because this is Paravidya. In science, once destroyed means destroyed. But in the modern science now has come to realize that the energy cannot be destroyed at all, the conservation of matter and energy. Matter cannot be destroyed, energy cannot be destroyed. Matter and energy will remain conserved at this form or that form. They are destroyed, but being destroyed, they remain undestroyed. They remain constant. This is also accepted by science, by the modern science. So the secret of descent is something higher has the capacity to descend into the lower. For example, the pure consciousness is reflected in and through Jagrata, Swapna and Susupti. waking, dream, and dreamless sleep. But at the same time, the consciousness does not lose its essence. Without losing its essence, the consciousness manifests differently in different sources. I have given so many examples. Before three mirrors, I am reflected in three ways. I am divided in three ways, but without losing my own image. Similarly, the water is reflected in three ways, in three bottles, without losing the very essence of water. Similarly, the pure consciousness, the Atman, that descends into the world of multiplicities, the world of multiplicity, the world of plurality, and at the same time, the very essence is not destroyed. The essence is there. Therefore, it is pure existence. Therefore, it is pure consciousness. Therefore, it is pure bliss. Just I shall speak 2 minutes about bliss, then we shall finish. The bliss is also not destroyed. Best example is mother. When mother loves, when mother divides her love is not finished. Her love is not destroyed. Three things are there which being divided actually multiplied. Three things. Wisdom. The more you divide, the more you distribute, the more you give, it is multiplied. The more you divide wisdom, the more you distribute wisdom, your wisdom will be multiplied. The more you give love, affection to others, your loving attitude, your affection attitude will be multiplied. And the third one is your good thought. Therefore it is said in Veda that noble thoughts come from all sides. If you share your good thoughts with others, your good thoughts will, being divided, it will not be destroyed. It will be multiplied. So it is not only the fact that your knowledge will not be destroyed, rather the bonus point is that it will be multiplied. Therefore, that is Brahma. Therefore, that is pure consciousness. Because of that pure consciousness, science is possible. Because of that pure consciousness, philosophy is possible. Because of that pure consciousness, religion is possible. Because of that pure consciousness, our sense organs are functional, our entire body is functional, and the entire nature is functional. So that is only pure consciousness, which is the presiding deity, and that is in Prashna Upanishad, it is called Prajapati. It is called Prajapati. Prajapati is pure consciousness. That is the presiding deity of the entire world of manifestation. And the next session, tomorrow is the concluding session. We discussed two things: the secret of creation, how creation is possible through matter and energy. Today we discuss what is beyond matter and energy, and how that something beyond descends into the world of multiplicity. Today we discussed that. And tomorrow we shall discuss, even being divided into the world of a multiplicity, how again the Anu will become Bhuma, how the microcosmic entity will become the macrocosmic entity, how the individuality will become divinity, how again the ascending process is possible, because that is the ultimate goal of life. Yesterday and today we discussed about the divine glories, about the metaphysics, about the limitation of physics. That was our wisdom. Tomorrow we shall discuss what is the real purpose of our life. That we have to, if we understand, if we understood the secret of descent, then now we shall start ascending to reach that point, that higher point, through spiritual sadhana. That is the secret of ascent. We shall discuss tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Professor Das, for your really illuminating and very, very thought provoking lecture on the topic that is the secret of descent. Uh, Professor Das began his discussion with making a distinction between science of relativity, or you can say phenomenal world, and the science of absolute. In other words, in particularly in Upanishadic language, we can say that it is the distinction between aparavidya and paravidya. In Bhagavad Gita, already it is also going on. We know the distinction that is between jnana and vijnana. So basically, uh, when we talk about opera vidya, or this is the phenomenal world, the knowledge about the phenomena or the phenomenal world, it is subject to change, it is subject to revision or corrections. But we being the body mind spirit complex, we have an innate tendency. We are not satisfied with this physical world, with this physical knowledge, with this phenomenal knowledge. So we have an innate tendency to not to be satisfied with this aparavidya, and we always make an effort or tries to cross the boundary and tries to venture into the world which is not known to us in the ordinary way as we know the world. So there are, you can say that there are instruments of the human knowledge that he very beautifully explained how it has its own limitations, and that is particularly raised by both the third and the fourth disciples named Kaushalya and Gargya. They also want to know what is beyond this prana, because in the first two disciples they raised the question, what is that highest order? And Prajapati explains that the whole world is possible because of matter and energy. That is yesterday he very elaborately discussed on this matter and energy, and how the both the third and the fourth disciples, they want to know what is beyond this prana or the energy. Who is the particularly, the question is regarding to the source of the energy, or the, you can say that the higher energy. If we compare between source and matter, we know that the higher energy, higher form of thing is the energy. So energy includes matter in itself. So they want to know who is the source of this prana or the energy, or you can say that where from energy comes. Energy, so in his speech, he uh, very emphatically, he very clearly emphasized that it is the pure consciousness from which we get the energy. And from energy, there are, they the both matter and energy, they are not, you can say, two logically groups. Rather, there are differences regarding their degree. They are not completely two different entities, rather there are differences in degree. So everything comes from that pure consciousness. And what is that pure consciousness? That is very beautifully he also explained. I must congratulate him that how it is called Sat, Chit and Ananda, and how it is called pure existence, and it is called pure consciousness, and it is called pure bliss. And while he is talking about Ananda, we must make a distinction, that is Ananda is not Sukha. Ananda is not, even it is different from pleasure, it is different from uh, happiness. So what is that ananda? It is there is a saying, sukham anantam iti anandam. So that pleasure which has no limitation, that pleasure which has no end, that is called ananda. And it is also the nature of pure consciousness. That while he is explaining us the secret of descent, the actual secret lies in the idea that the ultimate consciousness descends down to the lower levels of consciousness. The total mind descends to the unitary minds, or you can say that the pure consciousness descends down to the impure ones. And here he particularly emphasized that impure means it is a combination of matter and energy. And again, moving on, he also emphasized that every one of us, we all are passing through different stages of consciousness. That is, at times we are in dream states. At times we are when we woke up, we know that oh, I am in dream, or we are in dream. And there is also dreamless states are there. Every state is unreal in relation to the other, because as long as I am in a dream state, for me everything is real. If I am in my dream, I have a tiger, I am seeing a tiger in my dream state, I am very fearful. But only when I woke up, I get to know that oh, I was in dream. So the next question that is raised by the fourth disciple is that, who is that continuous being who is undergoing these different states of consciousness? Who is that entity? Now again he says that the preceptor, or you can say the realized soul, they answered that it is the one. And just give me 1 or 2 minutes, I'm going to complete. It is the one and alone the pure consciousness that is continuing. And that one pure consciousness becomes many. Ekasyam bahuda bhavanti. So one becomes many is the process, and many becomes one. You can say that it is the goal, it is the ultimate thing of the entire secrets of descent, you can say. So how one can be again in that pure consciousness, that is very challenging for all of us, because there is again he also very beautifully also open up a new vista, that there is a scope even for our transcendence, and we should transcend, and we should transform and transcend. And by developing certain qualities of compassion, empathy, love, care, concern, by that we can develop the attitude of oneness with the other, because we being humans possesses cognitive side and affective side. The cognitive side only confines us to understand the world or understand the reality, but the cognitive side always tries to change the world, always try to change our interpersonal relations, so that we can develop our affective attitude by identifying ourselves with the others. There is no other. Finally, there will be no other for a realized soul, or a developed one who realizes what that pure consciousness is. So there should be, I think, in the coming sessions, he is going to discuss who is the real adhikaris, so that he will develop the sense of uh, uh, identifying with other. That is, there will be no other for him, and he will see others in himself, and equally himself in others. So that should be our you can say that should be our the goal of each and being human. That should be the goal of our life, aim of our life. So with this, I again congratulate Professor Das, and I invite the participants to make it a very lively and meaningful interactive sessions. So I request all the participants, I think K. Om Narayan sir is there. So I request him to unmute and ask the question if he wishes to do so. Om Narayan sir. Hello, sir, are you there? K. Om Narayan, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
madam.
sir, please move on. Please.
Thank you. I was late, but good things I could learn, though I was late. Actually, two things will come to my mind. One was how this pure consciousness that what Professor Das says, Prajapati, gets separated into different species. Well, he gave towards the end. I could listen from him. He talks of mirrors, three different mirrors, giving three different sorts of reflections. But somehow, I'm not convinced of how different sorts of spaces do we have. Why is it so that we have different sorts of spaces? Number one. And if at all we have spaces, how is this consciousness distributed or how is this consciousness separated? Number one. Number two, if we look into the theory of evolution, it says that the lower forms have first evolved. So, at a point of time when there were only lower forms, what was the status of this Prajapati Brahman? Okay, so this is the second question. Why he was not explicit when there were only lower forms? Okay, this is the second question. And the third question is, why this consciousness? What has made this consciousness to vary in degree? Is there any purpose behind that? These are the three
Okay.
questions, all connected to one another.
Pramod, sir, please. You answer.
Why the ultimate source of consciousness, pure consciousness, descends into the lower part that was discussed yesterday. Why at all there is creation? The question is why at all there is creation? If pure consciousness is there in the potential form, then why at all there is creation? If there is a necessity of a creation, then the question of a modification, the question of a reflection, the question of evolution, these questions take place. If creation is necessary, if only pure consciousness will remain as pure consciousness, then such questions will not take place. So, in order to answer this, why creation is there, why modification is there, I had answered that was also the first question of the first disciple. The first disciple asked like K.M. Narayan sir, that why at all there is creation? Why that pure consciousness? He does not understand that. He is simply asking the question, why there is the world of multiplicity? Where from this creation came? So there are two types of answer. One is the story form, that Prajapati Brahman, he has freedom, he is absolutely free, he is pure consciousness, and being pure and being absolutely conscious, he has freedom to wish, as we are free to have many types of wishes, and we are free to fulfill our wishes. So the pure conscious Brahman, Prajapati, is also free to wish, and he wishes to become many, and he wishes to have a penance. He wishes to sit on a meditation. He wishes to have a creation, to have a very beautiful creation. This is the story part. And for this creation, he took only two elements. They are matter and energy, jada and chetana, matter and spirit. Out of these two elements, he has created all species, all modifications out of these two principles, matter and energy. So why pure consciousness becomes many? Metaphysically, we shall only answer that one wants to become many. It is also there in the Upanishad. Ekam, ekam bahusami, so perhaps like this. That one Brahma, one entity, wishes to become many. It is the wish of the pure consciousness. Scientifically we can answer. They don't believe in that pure consciousness. They don't have that access. They don't claim that there is pure consciousness, there is Prajapati who wishes to become many. These are all nonsense for science. Science explains the world also through these two principles, matter and energy. So this is the scientific explanation, that everything can be explained through matter and energy. So regarding this explanation, science and metaphysics differ. But in the next step, when matter and energy are explained by their modifications, in that point, both science and metaphysics sit together. They are parallel. How? Metaphysics also believes that there is no matter, there is only energy. The energy center is there. Ultimately, the subtlest matter is only energy. And science also, modern science also claims there is no matter, there is only energy, or we may call it consciousness. So the starting point may be story oriented in Upanishad, like Prajapati, he wishes to become many, ekam bahusami, this way. Because science has no access for that metaphysical myths, out of the empirical perception, laboratory experiment, science declares that this entire phenomenal world can be explained through matter and energy. So their results are same and their following explanations are also same. Both metaphysics and physics declare that there is no matter. Ultimately, there is no matter. There is only manifestation of energy. Number one. Number two, your question is, if in the lower level of consciousness, why the pure consciousness is not explicit? Why the pure consciousness is not explicit? The pure consciousness is not explicit, therefore it is lower. The pure consciousness is not explicit, therefore there is a possibility of a lower consciousness. Suppose I am sleeping and before I sleep, I am dreaming, so my waking state is not explicit. If my waking state is explicit, I can't dream. I can't sleep. Therefore, people take medicine to sleep. So the waking state will be dormant, will be implicit, so that we can have a dream. And dream state, if dream state will be explicit, we cannot have sound sleep. We shall be disturbed by our dream. So if the higher is explicit, there is no chance of lower. If the lower is explicit, there is no chance of ascending. So some energy, some part must remain implicit so that the other part will be explicit. Waking state will be dormant so that we can go to dream. Dream state will be dormant so that we can go to the dreamless sleep. And all these three states, when will remain dormant, we can be conscious that all these three states are false. Only that pure consciousness is explicit. It is there. It is there. It is there in the dream state. It is there in the waking state. It is there in the sleep state. But because of our ego center, because of our conditionings, conditions means the physical condition, psychological conditions means our thoughts, vasanas, and the intellectual conditions means our convictions, our philosophy, our decisions, our desires, our expectations. All these are conditioned, all these are, all these condition the pure consciousness to a particular confinement that is called ego. Because of that ego, we fail to realize the explicit status of consciousness. The ego is explicit. When we realize the pure consciousness, their ego will be destroyed, completely destroyed. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
Om sir.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Sir, you
But,
want to?
yes, madam. Yes, thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
giving me this opportunity. But my question was well, that part is clear. What he has said very nicely has said. But yes, the evolution is going on. Well, there are lower states in order that there is a possibility for the higher. Okay, that is all right. But my question is, what was the status of Brahman at the lower state of evolution? What was the status of Brahman? Number one. Number two, what is the status? What was the status? And what is the status? It is still evolving, because this is the stage we don't know. We are still evolving. Maybe we are still evolving. Okay. So what is the status comparing to the state where there were only lower forms? Even in Dasavatara, when you talk of, there is an evolution from Param. There is a code called Param. So if you look into much, then if you go from starting from the Matshar, then what would you say, Kurma, then what do you say, what is the other form? Varaha, Vamana, Parshurama. So there is an evolution. Narsimha, then Vamana. Okay. So the consciousness slowly was going on. Okay, moving on. So how do you imagine the consciousness at this stage, and how do you see the consciousness at when there was a lower evolution only? So how do you, what was the status of that Prajapati? How do you imagine the status? Taking the Dasavatara theory even from our text, from our Vedic text, or from our ancient literature, and the scientific evolution on the other. So, do you think is the evolution still going on? If so, how do you see the status of Brahman at a lower state of evolution, say at the level of Matsya, and the present state? How do you make a distinction?
Sir, can I help you? Sir, Pramod sir, if you allow me.
No, I don't allow. I shall answer.
Okay.
My simple answer is the formless remains formless through different forms. The formless remains formless through different forms. I gave an example. Water is colorless. The colorless water remains colorless through different colorful bottles. The pure consciousness remains pure consciousness through different forms of a consciousness. Myself is not a father, myself is not a husband, myself is not a teacher. Myself remains myself through different roles. Even when I am angry, this is a format of my existence. But there also I am that pure consciousness, but I am in an angry format. When I am extremely happy, That is also another format. The same pure consciousness, the formless, remains formless through different forms. Once who understands this, that I am that formless entity, and I shall remain formless, even though from the practical standpoints, from the pragmatic standpoints, I need to take different forms. I am taking this form from the empirical necessity. I am not this form. I am taking this form, but I am formless. This is the status of a pure consciousness in lower to higher. In lower and higher, this is discussed from the empirical point of view. From the absolute point of view, there is no lower and no higher. There is only pure consciousness. So there is no problem. And we all experience that. We all experience. We get angry, and after 1 hour, we become pacified. We pacify ourselves. We become very cool. So who became cool? Who became angry? There is a common entity who becomes angry and who becomes cool. Again he becomes angry, again he becomes cool. So in the changes, in the modification, there is something in which all changes undergo, all changes take place. But we have to understand this. That understanding is wisdom. That understanding is Upanishadic knowledge. That understanding is liberation. The moment we understand this, we are liberated. Pure consciousness is not affected by any form of consciousness. Pure existence is not affected by any format of existence. Similarly, pure love is not affected by any format of love. That is not like a wife love, or husband love, or brother love. Love is love. Brother's love, sister's love, wife's love, husband's love, these are all forms of love. Love is not destroyed by any format of love. Existence is not destroyed by any format of existence. Consciousness is not destroyed by any format of or any degree of consciousness. Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
Shravani has some questions. Sir,
Then one
Shravani,
thing-
because
then- yes,
we are
just
on.
just one point to make. A very good take from
Sir.
Professor Class. Very good take. Just 1 minute, madam. Very good take. Malab, he said pure consciousness, very nicely said. He takes unseen, pure consciousness takes different forms. So my point is, why there is this evolution? Why he took different avatars to make himself explicit from the lower to the higher? Is there any purpose that you want to convey? What is the purpose? Why did he take from the Matsya, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, then Dwarf, then Parashurama, Rama, like this? He has descended down in different forms. Why did he do so? Is there any purpose behind it? That is the point. Well, that formless is made explicit in different forms. Very nice take from you. But what is the purpose behind this Dasavataras?
The purpose is the form should know that it is formless. The purpose is the person who is in a form or the entity who is in a format that should know that he is really formless. This is the purpose. That is the transformation. We are in form at a time and we are trapped by that form because we take that to be granted. And we live our whole life being a school teacher or being a college teacher or being a writer or being a speaker or being a father and mother. That is not our real format. These are all forms. So through the forms, we have to understand that we are formless. So the journey is from form to formless. That is the purpose. Therefore, for laymen, for common men, as a child is satisfied with doll, but we people think that this is a doll. A child does not think that it is a doll. Similarly, the deities, the forms of deities, they are the initial stage of meditation, initial stage of realization to that formless. Therefore, we need different types of idol worship is required for the common people, for the layman. For the wise person, they understand Isavasyam idam sarvam. Everything is divine. This mobile phone is divine. This my wound is divine. My wound. This wounded dog is divine. This highest realization for the person who has this highest realization, he does not need to go temple. He does not need to believe in any avatar. This is the very initial stage of devotion. This is the very initial stage of transformation. Because if the purpose is to become formless, how is it possible for a layman? The person who is in a lower form can become formless through a better form. If I am in a form of man, then I take a better form, that is the form of Lord Jagannath, in order to become formless. But if I realize that Isavasyam idam sarvam, then there is no need of Jagannath or Allah or Krishna or any medium or any format, lower or higher. Therefore, these avatars, the conception of these avatars, whether they are true or false, that is debatable, but they have necessity for the transformation of our consciousness from lower level to higher level. We can have direct intuition, we can have direct realization of the formless. Otherwise, we can gain that consciousness through different higher forms. These higher forms are the avatars or idols, temples, religion. Religion is necessary for laymen. Religion is not necessary for wise men, because religion is also a format.
Hello, Shravani, are you there? Shravani? हाँ sir.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
You just unmute and ask the question. ନାଇଁ sir ଶୁଣା ଯାଉଛି sir ଶୁଣା ଯାଉଛି. Pramod sir, you are audible to all of us. Okay. Sir, Shravani has a question. Shravani, will you unmute and ask the question kindly? Or read it out. Shravani. Hello. Sir, ଆପଣ ଶ୍ରାବଣୀର question ପଢିପାରିବେ କି? ନା ମୁଁ ପଢିକି କହିବି? ମୁଁ ପଢିଦେବି କି? Okay. See you, sir. Almost related to Om Narayan, sir. Yes. Very. question directly.
Sir, sir, another thing I have noted that ego is good, but when it is trapped, I don't say, I am not at all clear. I think ego is good, but when it is trapped, that is bad for us. Sir, is it correct or anything else?
No, ego is not good. Ego is not good.
Okay. Sir,
Ego,
sir.
ego, ego is not good. Ego means it is a conditioning factor. Okay. Ego, the definition of ego is that when the pure consciousness is conditioned by body,
Sir,
mind, and intellect,
sir,
that we call ego center. So the
sir, sir,
purpose of life is
sir,
to transcend ego, to
sir,
become egoless.
sir,
If you are in a format of ego, then all
sir,
your actions, all your devotion, all your knowledge will become egocentric.
sir, sir,
Either it be sattvic or rajasic or tamasic.
sir,
In any form, that is bad.
sir, sir, sir,
Even if you have sattvic ahankar, sattvic ego,
sir,
that is
sir,
also bad. So you have to go beyond that. So
sir,
ego is not good.
sir,
But ego is necessary. Ego is necessary for this empirical world. Otherwise, we can't live. We can't live in
sir,
this practical world.
sir, sir,
Therefore, form is necessary.
sir,
But we have to understand that I am really formless. That
sir, sir,
understanding should be there. Otherwise, you will be trapped by the form.
sir, sir,
Live with the forms,
sir,
with the wisdom that you are formless. That is
sir,
called
sir,
tenatektana bhanjita.
sir,
Attachment through detachment.
sir, sir,
Attached with the forms, because without forms you can't live.
sir,
You have to live through the forms.
sir,
But don't identify yourself
sir,
with such forms.
sir,
You have to close your doors, because your door is the door of the Supreme Self.
sir,
That is not your real identity.
sir,
Your identity is not that you are a wife or you are a mother or you are a teacher. Your identity is that you are Supreme Self. Have this
sir,
wisdom, then, then you can cultivate better compassion, better love, better sacrifice, better commitment.
sir,
You will evolve. Evolution
sir,
means that.
sir,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Obliged.
Hello.
Thank you, Professor Das, for
Hello.
very beautifully answering all the questions. Now I request Swarnalata Tripathi Madam to offer the vote of thanks. Swarna
Can I
Madam,
before that intercept for a minute? Hello.
sir, sir, what to do? Someone else. Sir,
Hello.
Pramod sir. Hello, Pramod sir, are you there? Hello, Swarna Madam. Hello.
Okay, the session is closed. It seems. Okay.
Yeah, because we are already cross the time limitation. ତାଙ୍କୁ କ'ଣ ସେ ଶ୍ରୀନିବାସନ ସାର୍ ଇଜ୍ ଆସ୍କିଂ ସମ୍ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ସ ପ୍ରମୋଦ ସାର୍ ଆଲାଉ କରିବେ ନା
Otherwise, we'll see tomorrow. No problem.
Okay, thank you so much. You just we request
Yes, madam, is there any other question, madam?
हाँ श्रीनिवासन sir wants to
Yes, he may ask.
okay. Sir, you can
Namaste ji.
unmute and ask.
Namaste ji. Pranams. Hello.
Yes sir, you are audible. You just go move on.
He kindly explain the metaphysical principle of the evolution of mankind, sir, in Prashna Upanishad. Hello.
Sir, please repeat. Sir, please repeat.
kindly explain the metaphysical principle of evolution in the mankind in Prasnopanishad?
Metaphysical, sir. Thus, sir, metaphysical evolution of mankind in Prashna Upanishad. He
Oh,
Yes, we
wants
have been.
that
yes,
you
yes,
explain.
yes. Metaphysical means that is Paravidya, which cannot be explained by physics, which cannot be explained by science. Any explanation that is not possible through science, that is metaphysics. So when we try to explain the empirical world through matter and energy, that is scientific explanation. That is also done in Prashnopanishad in first two questions, question number 1 and 2. But in the third and fourth question, it becomes metaphysical because here the third disciple is asking the question, who is the authority of prana? Who is beyond prana? Where from prana comes and how prana enters into the world and how prana or the life leaves the world. This is a metaphysical stance. And here the answer
Yes.
is prana is from the Atman or pure consciousness. And the second metaphysical position is that higher principle descends into the world of multiplicity and being destroyed, the higher principle is not destroyed. These are all the metaphysical explanations of evolution.
Oh,
And,
yes.
in the next class, next session, we shall discuss the opposite direction, how there is a process of ascent, how the lower
Oh,
can
okay.
ascend the higher. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I request Swarnalata Tripathi Madam to offer vote of thanks. Swarna Madam, please. Hello. Yes.
Namaskar to all. Wisdom Forum and Philosophy family extend deep sense of gratitude to all the participants for being present, the participation present with us in this session. Their presence is the source of our inspiration. We are grateful to the esteemed speaker, Pramod sir, for delivering a talk on the secret of descent, covering the third and fourth chapters of Prashna Upanishad. We thank Dr. Kalyani Sarani Madam from the core of our heart for her beautiful moderation of this session. Thank you all. We shall meet tomorrow evening with new topic, the secret of ascent, which will be the concluding session of Prashna Upanishad. धन्यवाद प्रणाम.
Thank you. So let's call it a day. Thank you. Good night. So we'll, with a promising note, we should end the session that we will meet tomorrow for further discussions on Prashna Upanishads. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar to all of you.